Oh my goodness. That is some good coffee. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Is Dad Coming Back? My name is Zach, and today we are going to be doing a product test. We're going to figure out if it is necessary to spend over $100 on a streaming microphone or content microphone, or if it's still the safe route and still a quality route to spend about $50. We're going to be rating these microphones in 3 different categories, using the build quality, the audio quality, as well as just the ease of use of the mic. In each of those categories, I'll rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 to be able to compare them side by side, and at the end of the video, adding up those numbers to seeing which one would be the better option. In today's video, we're going to be comparing 2 microphone options. Both of these options are USB plug and play. We have the blue Snowball Ice as well as the Samson G-Track Pro. Before diving in, I do want to say that I'm a live streamer right here on YouTube every Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well as smash that bell icon so that you can get notified when I am live, as well as when I'm posting content similar to this one today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first mic that we're going to cover here is going to be the blue Snowball Ice. Talking about build quality on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it about a 6, and I'll tell you why. The base is a solid metal, which is very good, very sturdy. It does have somewhat of a flimsy tripod to it. I'd be worried of knocking it over and accidentally breaking one of the legs off because it just doesn't feel like it's held on too strongly, but definitely strong enough to be holding up the microphone for sure. Now, when it comes to the mic itself and the components within this, as well as just the looks of it, I would say that it could be better, but it's a $50 microphone, so I can understand why it isn't better. Everything about this top here is plastic. The screen for the speaker is plastic. The shell is plastic itself. I do know that there are plastic components within the microphone too that make out the mechanisms. And probably the number one thing I don't like about this microphone and its build is that there is no mute button. There's no mute button anywhere. It's very sad because if I need to take a call or if I need to sneeze or cough or something, I'm going to be doing all of that right into the microphone, or I have to leave the room or unplug it. And that's just a pain in the butt. So I really wish that there was a mute button. That's probably my least favorite part of all of this, but overall 6 out of 10 on build quality. Now, when it comes to audio quality, I do want to preface this and say that I am not an audio engineer, so I don't know the specs of how good, how bad these pieces of equipment are, but I do have a good understanding of what sounds good and what doesn't sound so good. And when we're talking about the blue Snowball here, I would give it a solid 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for sound quality. It's a condenser microphone that's just cardioid, which basically just means it's only going to take in sound from directly in front of it and a tad bit on the sides, and it's going to try to do its best to cancel out any noise that's happening behind the microphone. That's really good for streamers if you're using keyboard and mouse so that you're not hearing so much clicking. The only downside is that that's basically all it's good for when you're just speaking into it, one person. If you want to do a podcast or have a group of people speaking into the microphone, the only person that's going to sound clear and crisp is the one that's directly in front of it. So this is more of an individual use, but if that's what you're doing, solid mic. Also, when it comes to the sound quality, I would say that it sounds a little bit flat. Like, meaning that when I speak lower or when I speak higher, it's basically the same sound. So that kind of knocks it down a point as well. Last thing that I want to test is background noise. How much background noise shows up when you are using this microphone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step to the back of the room, say a little tongue twister at a couple different volumes, and see how much background noise this mic picks up. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Oh, those tongue twisters are tough. It definitely picks up background noise for sure. I did those in 3 different volumes: regular speaking volume like I am to you right now, and then a quiet, and then a loud as well. And it picked up all 3 of them pretty easily. So if you have any other noise going on in the room, whether it be air conditioning vents, someone sitting in the room that's watching TikToks or whatever it is that they're doing, or have a cat that's meowing, which is usually what I have in the room, then this microphone will definitely be picking those up and not do the best job of eliminating them. But overall, I still stand by my 8 out of 10. The things that dropped it down were definitely those background noises, and then just that it's more flat. And for the last component being ease of use, for the Snowball, I'd definitely give it a 9 out of 10. The only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 is because it doesn't have a mute button. Besides that, you plug it in and you use it. Very easy, no extra programs that need to be downloaded in order to be using this on like something like Streamlabs or in your video content. It's very easy, so 9 out of 10. And now we're gonna move on to the G-Track Pro. The G-Track Pro for $140 definitely feels like $140 worth of a microphone. It is solid metal. The whole thing. The only thing that isn't solid metal is the mute button. And I do want to point out, it has a mute button. You know how much I like that mute button, and I'm very glad it is here. But I would give this a solid 9 out of 10 for build quality, just because of the fact that it is a solid piece of equipment. Everything is metal, and you're not going to have to worry about it breaking if you're traveling with it. The only downside and why it's not a 10 out of 10 is because of how heavy it is. If you are traveling with it, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Now, moving on to the audio of the G-Track Pro, I would give this probably a 9 out of 10. I'm very happy with the way that this sounds. The only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 is probably because this microphone does a lot more than I honestly need it for. To point some features out, it has a whole bunch of different settings. You can do 3 different cardioid patterns, or 3 different polar patterns, where you've got figure 8. It's going to take noise from the front and the back of the microphone and try to cancel out the sides. You then have cardioid pattern, where it will take it from the front and a little bit of the sides. And lastly, it has omnidirectional, which is going to be a 360 input for the microphone. So if you have a group of people speaking into the microphone, it's going to pick up everybody very well. I pretty much just use cardioid. That's about it. I'm a single streamer, meaning that I stream by myself, and I also make content by myself too. So using anything other than cardioid isn't really necessary for me. Past that, you can then adjust the gain of the microphone, so I can make it louder. I can also plug an instrument into the microphone if I'm a musician, which I'm not. And then you can do headset volume if you plug a headset directly into the back of the microphone. Like, there's so much that you can do with this, and I'm using it to its bare minimal capabilities. But the way that it sounds, beautiful, very professional. You can really get a sense for what my voice sounds like. Here are the lows, here are the highs. 9 out of 10. We are going to do the same background noise test that we did with the Blue. I'm going to stand in the back, say the tongue twister at 3 different volumes, normal, quiet, loud, and see how much background noise this microphone picks up. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. So as you can see there, when I did normal volume, the G-Track Pro picked up the initial sound, but then was able to actually cancel that sound out as I continued my tongue twister. But when I went quiet, 0 sound at all. And then when I'm loud, it obviously will be able to pick that up as background noise, and it will come through the microphone. So this is a very good microphone if you are working in an environment that has some noise, like air conditioning in the background. If you have some cats meowing, which they've been doing the whole time that I've been making this video, or if you have just things like keyboard noises, this will be able to cancel those out. And then for the last category of the G-Track Pro being ease of use, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because of the fact that there are so many settings on here that I don't think many people are going to actually be utilizing all of them, as well as there are things on here that, although through a quick Google search you could figure out how to properly use it, just plugging it in and using it, it's not very user friendly in that way. But easily reading the instructions or going online, you could figure that out for sure. But comparing to something that you just plug into the computer and start using versus something you have to have a little bit of knowledge behind, I'm going to give it an 8.5 for that reason. So there you have it. There is my opinion on the difference between the Snowball and the G-Track Pro. After adding up the numbers, the Snowball came through with a 22.5 out of 30, and the G-Track Pro came through with a 26.5 out of 30. Obviously, when it comes to things like audio, when you do spend more money, typically, you do receive a higher quality. But I don't want to say that the Snowball is a bad option. It is a great microphone, and honestly, I feel that this would have been a really solid choice for me to begin with. You don't have to spend more than double the amount in order to get quality. You can spend $50 and have a really solid starting point. But in my opinion, the G-Track Pro, when it comes to build quality and when it comes to the quality of the audio coming through, I do feel that it does outshine the Snowball. If you agree with me, hit a like button. If you disagree with me, I would love to hear your ideas on why you disagree in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think that they sound the same. Tell me if you have had both of these or one of these and you really like it or really dislike it. Let me know, interact with me, talk to me, and make sure that you do tune in to our stream every Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. I look forward to seeing you there, and as always, I hope you have a good one. Peace.